Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. If you can hear me out there and you have logged on to this live stream, please let me know that you can hear me and I will get started. So I'll give everyone that's going to be watching this live stream, I'll give you guys a few minutes and let me see if I can go to my other channel and I'll post a link. Peace to everyone that's going to join me. I appreciate you all being here. And I just appreciate my fan base altogether. No matter how small my fan base is or how big it gets, I appreciate each and every one of you. You guys always make me feel good. And the best way you guys do that is by supporting my work. I really appreciate that. So if you are here, make sure you show up and let me know that you can hear me on the live stream. Let me do a quick post on my other channel. Just let them know I'm live now. Live on my art channel. Join us. Let's see where I put that thumbnail at. So I'll put that there. Image. So I hope everyone's doing well on this Friday. It's kind of cloudy and muggy here. Good morning to you all. It's been very it's been extremely hot where I am. I'm in the South, so here in Tennessee. And it's been very hot and humid. Okay, so I've been trying to avoid outside as much as I can. Obviously I have a home, so I have to take care of things outside. I have to cut the grass and cut the hedges and whatnot. But if I ain't gotta do that, I try to stay inside or at least stay on my deck where it's nice and cool because we have a covered deck. So and there's a outside air conditioner on there too. So I try to stay there as best I can. What does that say there? Black folks need to support Noir Caesar, a free black-owned manga company. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, if you can find any type of black content, any type of black comic books, black manga, black animation, whatever you can find out there, you do need to support that more than you support some of these other things. And I'm going to start doing this on this channel as of next week. I'm trying to think what day is a good day to do it, but I'm going to start showcasing different comic books and books that you guys can buy. Obviously behind me, I have some on my bookshelf. You guys can, go and, I'll give you guys the book, the name, the author, and you guys can go to their website and support them. Okay. Because I think that's very important. Sometimes we want to support, but we don't know what's out there and we don't know where we can get it. So that's the best thing right now is just if I can spread the word through my platforms, that'd be the best thing to do. And I already have some videos recorded from my old channel that I'm going to put up here of different artists that I've showcased because I've showcased Wayne Riley over in the UK, who has his own comic book company called All Knights. I've showcased who else? Machindo. For those of you who are familiar with the artist Machindo, who's one of the most talented, inspirational black artists I ever met in my life, and I've ever had the joy of seeing their artwork. Machindo is tops in my book. I've also showcased a good friend of mine that I went to school with years ago, but he has a web comic. Well, I won't give his actual name because he uses a pseudonym, but he has a comic book called Kane Courageous, which is very well done. Like he literally just draws in pencil, and it's more amazing than the stuff that you see in the mainstream. And that's the thing. We have so many talented brothers and sisters out there. There's some very talented black women out there. I want to share some of their work as well. We have so many talented brothers and sisters, and no one's looking at their work. And what's funny is, uh, you know, black artists and black animators like myself have been doing the types of characters we want to see for so long, and now you're starting to see it in the mainstream. If anyone watched any streams or videos from some of the new video game releases they've had over the last couple of weeks, there's a new character in Tekken. I think his name is Leroy, the old kung fu master. He has the dreadlocks. Looks like a brother, an old brother from around the way. They got another brother with dreadlocks in the new Guilty Gear game. They got like a African god in this that online fighting game is called Smite, but they got like a black Orisha type god in there. They've been promoting him. They got the black god that's kind of like the Egyptian god Geb in the new Mortal Kombat game. So now all of a sudden, we've been creating this type of content for at least the last 20 years. But now all of a sudden the mainstream is starting to catch on, and they're starting to make their own characters and kind of trying to suck off of the black comics movement, which I think is funny. It's a good thing, and I'm kind of glad it happens, because that way we could use it to get attention onto us. Like say like, okay, you like this, there's something out here that's better than this, okay, that's created by actual black people that you'll enjoy. But it's just funny to me that now they've been snooping in our movement, and they've been pilfering. That means like stealing in little bits. They've been taking little characters from us and putting them in their mainstream projects. Okay, I've seen some of my work stolen. I know that for a fact. So I'm not what was it, Witcher 3? Yeah, I think it was Witcher 3. Like I did some concept art and some fantasy artwork for uh, a black role playing game called the Kaikanga Anthology. Milton Davis and Brother Balagoon, they created this whole role playing game world for a black African fantasy. And I just did some concept artwork for their game. And I'll be damned if one of the images from that game or from the design that I did looks exactly like someone a design that's on that Witcher 3 video game. They took almost the same concept. It's the witch. Like I designed the witch character, like a witch that has all these different frogs and stuff that come out of her, and the design is almost in the same pose and everything. I'm like, wait a second, that looks awful damn familiar. Like I was looking up some wallpapers and I saw it, and I was like, wow, that looks awful familiar. And a lot of these mainstream concept artists do that. They go online and look up what's popular. And if no one's paying attention to a certain artist, they'll take their artwork and put it up there and make it seem like they created that. They'll just do their own rendition of it. Okay. So I mean, it is what it is. They like taking our stuff. That's how it works out here. And that kind of leads me into my subject today about how dirty the art and animation business can actually be. Now, first, before I even get to that, let me just get to some announcements real quick. And for those who are fans of my coloring books, right now, go to my website at chriscrazyhouse.com. I'll provide you the link, and you can go and get some free coloring book pages on my website for those who enjoy the naturally cute coloring books. There are free coloring book pages you can go on there and download right now, okay? So you go on my website, chriscrazyhouse.com, and they'll pop up. So it's right, if you just go to the home page and just scroll down a little bit, that's where they will be. Let me see if I can provide you guys with the link. There it is. Sorry about that. I typed Chris Crazy House into Google search, and then my face popped up somewhere. That's why I was concerned. I was like, okay, who has a picture of my face somewhere that's not my actual website or any of my social media accounts? So there's the website, chriscrazyhouse.com. You can get the free coloring book pages there. It also has links to all my coloring books that you can go buy on Amazon right now. I'll show you guys some of them, or one of them, because I have one copyright here. Naturally Cute 2 is available on Amazon, as well as the first Naturally Cute coloring book, as well as the Chris Crazy House Hyper Fun coloring book. They're all available on Amazon.com right now. If you're also inclined, if you have a young grade schooler who wants to read about some black characters, they just don't want to read about wimpy kids and Captain Underpants, you got this, Big Monty and the Lunatic Lunch Lady, available now on Amazon. You guys can go pick that up today. And they got it hardcover and soft cover, and you can also get it for your kid if your kid has a Kindle reader. So yeah, go pick that up now. And I'm working on Big Monty Book 2. I won't reveal the title just yet, but I'm working on Book 2 now. That's actually what I was just working on before I logged on to this live stream. Okay, so that seems like that's going to be a very fun book as well. I'm trying to think when we're going to have it out. Probably it'll be out before the holidays. I'll say that. I don't know the exact date, but I know it'll be done before the holidays. So I will keep you guys posted when that will be done. Let's see what else. OnyxCon. I will be at OnyxCon the weekend of the 23rd, 24th, and 25th of August. So that weekend, I will be at OnyxCon in Atlanta. If you want to know more about it, go to onyxcon.com. Okay. And if you want to come visit my table, if you want anything autographed by me, or you just want to buy some of my work from me personally, or you just want to talk to me, I'd very much appreciate seeing you there. If you're in the Atlanta area or you're just visiting, come on down to OnyxCon and I will be there. And speaking of OnyxCon, probably my next live stream, what I will do is show you guys some of the things I will have at OnyxCon. Okay. No, I have not been to BlurredCon yet. I heard about it late. Like I didn't get a notice about it until like it was almost like a month away, so I didn't get a chance to go there. But I heard it went very well. I heard from some reliable sources it went well, and it may be something that I want to go to because it's not that far. It's in the South too. I think it was in Virginia, correct? So that might be something that I wouldn't even have to take a plane. I might be able to just drive there. Just might take a road trip and go there next year. So I will look into it for next year. That would be a good place to go because it seemed like a good convention. I know they would appreciate my work, and I would appreciate some of the people that were there that gave me the good review of BlurredCon. So yeah, I'll definitely check into that. And there's another one. I think it's just called the Fantasy Convention. It was called something else before, but there's another one in Atlanta that's geared towards black folks, and it's actually more just like OnyxCon is actually in a black section. You know what I'm saying? Like it's in a black. It's like the black mall. You know, sometimes they have you got any community with the white mall and the black mall. This one's at like the black mall. So I'm thinking about signing up for that next year as well. I've heard good things about that convention too. It looks really cool. And a lot of my comrades and my friends go there, so I'm looking forward to that one too. So I will announce which shows I will be at next year. So I'll keep you guys posted on that. And yes, I do know about the Orion, the Black African RPG. That's a really cool game, by the way. And I got some very nice messages from some of the brothers that worked on that game. And that's what I mean about kind of trying to communicate with black folks in Africa and other places, because you meet some very interesting people, and it's good that we can all appreciate each other's work and be inspired by each other and inspire more things, because that's where it was all about for me. I like to inspire other black artists to do the best they can. Okay. So yeah, I got all my announcements done. And I just wanted to say that if you are thinking about maybe getting a job as an animator or an artist, don't be discouraged by what I say in this blog, but just be, what should I say? Just be cautious about the people you're dealing with and what you might get yourself into, because there's a lot of shady people out there. The animation and art industry is just like any other industry in entertainment or any business entity that deals with corporations or whatever. It's business first. That when you say the animation or art industry, for them the industry part comes first. It's not the art. Okay, that's why there's so much garbage out there. But the industry part and the money part comes first. Okay, so don't get it twisted when you get into these things thinking that, oh, I'm going to be an artist, and when I work with these companies, it's all about the art. It's not. It is more about the bottom line for a lot of these companies. Okay, so that can cause a lot of problems, and when there's money involved, shady people get involved as well. Okay, and I'm going to share with you, first of all, just some stories about the mainstream industry, and then some of my personal stories, just so I can tell you guys just to be careful and kind of like what to look out for. But I will leave you with some positivity, so you don't think it's all doom and gloom later on. Okay, so first, just let me say this for those, because I know a lot of young people, they always ask me about, oh, have you ever worked in TV, movies, video games, anime, whatever. I've worked in TV animation. So I've worked on music videos. I've worked in web animation mostly. I have worked on some independent animated films. I have worked in games, mostly social games, and I have worked in comics. Never actual anime. I've done some anime like projects, but I've never worked anywhere in Japan, or I never worked for like a manga company or something like that. Okay, but yeah, that's my skill set. But I can tell you some stories about from peers and just from articles that I've read out there, because I pay attention to what goes on in the industry, and I know some people who have gone through some of these things. Okay, so the main industries as far as art and animation, you have TV, movies, and movies can be animated movies or people who work on live action movies but do the visual effects, gaming, comic books, and I'll keep Japanese anime and manga as a separate thing. Okay, so I would say the worst in of these industries that treats people like absolute garbage, they treats their actual workers like garbage, is the visual effects industry, the gaming industry, and anime and manga. Not so much manga, because manga is more controlled by the artist himself, but uh once you get into doing anime, which is like the animated form of these manga comic books, a lot of those artists get treated like absolute garbage. There are some horror stories I've read in some of these articles out there of artists being depressed to where they want to commit suicide, artists being worked to death, worked so hard and worked overtime and not getting fully compensated, or the artists there, they gotta live in like these communes. They can't, like, you can't have a wife and a family doing anime. You gotta like live with a whole bunch of other artists and try to scrape up the rent in some cheap ass place just to survive and do this art form. Okay, and you're working all the time, so you have no time to yourself. Uh, I've heard people like, they can't. There's no health care. You can't afford to take days off and whatnot, so they're like sick at the office. I've heard horror stories of people vomiting at the art table while they're doing some animation because they can't afford to take a day off or can't afford to get any proper health care. Okay, so that industry, a lot of young people love anime and manga, and they want to do that. Some even people think about moving to Japan and doing it. Uh, be sure what you want to do before you get into it. You can do it on your own. You don't need to move to Japan to do it. So, and it's better to do it here on your own, doing your own project, than trying to move there and create something, be working for one of these companies that's going to treat you like garbage. Okay, because especially if you're a black kid, you move over there. If you think they treat their own people like garbage, then how are they going to treat you when you get over there? Exactly. Let's see. Visual effects is another really bad one here in the United States. I always hear horror stories about how visual effects artists are treated. Okay. Yep. Yeah. Someone did. Yeah, you're right. Someone shot up an anime building a few weeks ago. And like I said, they I don't know if they came up with an idea of why they did it, if they got a why they did it, but if you hear the horror stories about how they're worked at these places, I can understand why. Okay. Uh Visual effects here in America, they treat those artists terribly. Like they and here's the thing about visual effects, and this is something that kind of irks me when I see fans or people who are laymen online when they do these reviews of movies and they talk crap about the effects. You have no idea what went into those effects, okay? You have no idea like they'll say like, okay, I'll just give you an example. Let's say like someone sees a CG character like the watching the Avengers movies, right? And they'll maybe say, "Oh, the Hulk didn't look so good in this movie. The Hulk did that. The visual effects in that movie sucked, right?" So they'll say stupid stuff like that, very ignorant, focusing on the Hulk being an all CG character, but you don't realize that that entire background that you just watched those Avengers on is completely CG. Okay, there is no there that battle of New York. They weren't shooting that in New York. Okay, they weren't shooting that in New York. That's on a green screen, folks. The battle in Wakanda in Avengers Infinity War, there was no Wakanda there. That's a green screen. Okay. What was it? What was the other one? Sokovia. There is no Sokovia. That's green screen. So all those buildings and everything you see in the background and fights and stuff happening in the foreground and background, that's all CG. Okay. And it's not just movies like those. There are romantic comedies with CG in the background because they can't afford to film in all these cities. So they'll take a animated backdrop and they'll put it there, or they'll do an animation for the establishing shot of these movies. Okay, there's so much CG in movies you don't notice it. So when people say, "Oh, this CG sucks," you don't really know what's going on. Okay, and you don't know the time and the effort that these artists put into these things. And yeah, like my man Contrail said, these people are spoiled, extremely spoiled. Most of the audience is spoiled, especially a lot of young people. Where I grew up in a time where there wasn't that, and I saw how visual effects progressed. Okay, and then working in the industry, I see how it's progressed. There are kids right now who have never seen a time where there weren't visual effects in movies. Okay, so they're extremely spoiled by it, and anything that doesn't look uh, photorealistic. But I mean, when you look at certain characters, they can't look. They're never going to look photorealistic just because you're human brain. Okay, that's the thing that a lot of people don't want to explain to you. But psychologically, even as good as Thanos looks in those Avengers movies, there are times when you're watching it, your mind is saying to you that this can't be real because you don't know someone that's that tall with purple skin. Okay, that's just there's you have no human reference for that. You can only try to use the reference for maybe the facial expressions or whatever. Okay, and some of the movements, but your mind's going to keep telling you that this is fake. This is fake. That's human psychology. You're never going to overcome that. Okay, unless we discover a race of purple aliens somewhere, there is no reference for that. Okay, so that's the thing that they don't explain to you about the psychology. When I see people say certain things like, "Oh, this doesn't," because when you're doing animation, any type of animation, you're really just doing a magic trick. It's not obviously what you're showing is not really moving. It's not really there. You're doing an illusion on someone's eyes, and you're trying to do it so good enough so they believe that it's real life. But so that's why for me, when I watch these movies, it's always a suspension of disbelief. For me, I'm not so serious where I'm like over analyzing. I'm trying to enjoy what I'm watching instead of saying, "Oh, this is not real." I know it's not real. I know Optimus Prime is not real. You don't have, these idiots that do these reviews don't have to tell you a million times that that's not real or this is impossible or whatever. There's giant robots fighting. That's all you need to know. Okay. So so that's what I'm saying. It's like there's so many of these movies out there with special effects, and those guys they might be paid well, but they're paid well for that project. There is no job security in special effects. Okay. You do the job and then that's over. And then you're out looking for another job. That's how it works. Okay. They don't keep you on to work on their next project. They lay off everybody and hire a whole new team. And maybe if you're lucky, you might slip back in there, but there is no job security there. So you can't build a foundation for building any type of wealth or building any type of equity to, like, have a home or a family or whatever, you're always cycled in and cycled out, and you're always looking for your next job. There's this little mini documentary put out, I think it was called Life After Pi, and it was a documentary about the visual effects artist who worked on that movie, The Life of Pi, which was directed by Ang Lee. It's that movie where there's like this Indian boy in a boat and there's a tiger and everything. That entire movie is damn near 100% special effects. Like the boy and the boat are the only things that weren't special effects. Like seriously, everything else was visual effects, right? But uh, the artist that worked on that movie, okay, like the production team and the director were winning awards at the Oscars. At the same time, the visual effects team were all looking for jobs. They said they were out looking for work or staying in hotels or whatever because they can't afford a house, or they're at a hotel trying to work on the next job to get. They were watching TV on. They were watching the Oscars on TV, seeing that the movie they worked on is winning awards, but they don't have any. They're not getting any type of monetary reward so that they can be secure. They're just kind of sitting around looking for work. The studio that worked on it was going bankrupt at the time, is winning awards for that movie. So you see what I'm saying? It's like that. That's the reality of these visual effects. And the gaming industry is almost the same, if not worse. Okay, the gaming industry is just as bad. Like I said, they hire you for one job, one game. Uh, the game goes out there. If it's a success, you make some. The people that created it make some money, but you don't get anything. You get paid for work for hire, and then you get shipped out to go find your next gaming job. Okay, and maybe like literally, you hope that that game is a success, so that can lead to you getting another job in gaming. You see what I'm saying? It's like that's why I think it's kind of silly to be just trying to get a job in this industry and not create on your own, because it's like I would just be working at this job so I can get another job. It becomes redundant and kind of silly to keep doing that. Okay, so in the gaming industry, once you finish a project, you're out there on your own again, looking for another game to work on. Okay, and God forbid, and like I said, that's if the game is successful. There are games that people work on, like myself, that have never seen the light of day. You can look on this channel right now. I got two games on there that you guys seem to love. Canary Kaboom, and what's the other one? Dead Man's Quest. They look beautiful, right? Never saw the light of day. Okay, I did 5 games for this company. 3 of them came out, but those 2 never came out. Okay, so it's like, uh, I guess I can still use it for my portfolio, but I always think it's silly when these gaming companies like, oh, we want to see you work on a game that's been shipped. Make sure the game has been shipped or whatever on your application or on your resume. It's like, dude, you know good and damn well most of those games that are made don't even come out. So why are you even bugging about that? But if you see that I got the talent, I got the talent. If you don't like it, then that's fine. But let's stop with your game needs to be shipped or whatever. Okay, because an artist can work on a game and it doesn't come out and it has nothing to do with that artist whatsoever. That's what I want to let you guys know, is that you can be the greatest artist in the world. You can work as hard as you want, create some of the coolest stuff, coolest animation, coolest artwork, and that entire company goes out of business and it has nothing to do with you whatsoever. The CEO could be pocketing some money. The CEO or whoever could have mismanaged the money. They could have spent too much on merchandising or advertising or something else, and the company folds under. That's happened to me several times. Okay, my first job, I was working for a company doing their web series, and through no fault of my own, through a whole different department, that company started folding over, and we all got laid off. Okay, just out of the blue, we went to lunch one day and came back from lunch when we were laid off. You see what I'm saying? Imagine that. Imagine that you going to lunch at Wendy's and coming back and finding out you don't have a job when you get back. Imagine another job I had. Things were going well for the company. The company was doing so well that they got bought by an even bigger corporation. You think that's going to be good for you? Nope. That company got bought out. They start laying off their old staff and start bringing in their own staff, or they incorporate the ideas and some of the IPs that you've created from for that company, and they lay off the old staff because they don't need you guys there anymore. Imagine that. Now that one I was smart. I realized that the hammer was coming down. I made sure I found another job before that happened. But a lot of other folks weren't that lucky or weren't that smart. I got out of there a full. Let's see, when did it finally close down? It closed down in September. I remember. I got out of there in June. By June, June and July, I already had something else going for myself. So I knew that was coming. So I got the hell up out of there. But like I said, there are other people who weren't so lucky. All right. So uh, that's what can happen at some of these jobs out here. You can be doing great, creating great things. Uh, the company that happened at was the company. If you go on my YouTube channel and watch that Great Wall of Teeth, I created that concept for that company. Okay, but it got them sold. It got them sold to a bigger company, but it didn't manage to keep anyone their job though. Okay, so that's what I'm saying is like you can do great things and still lose your job. You can work on a successful game or a successful movie. Like I said, Life of Pi was winning Oscars, and those people were still out looking for work. While the movie's winning Oscars, you're still looking for work. So that's why I want to ask you, like, is it really worth it trying to mess with this industry sometimes? Okay, and like I said, I don't want to scare you, but just be aware of what you're dealing with, and think about it with yourself. Like, what do you really want in with this industry? Okay, like do you want to just be a worker all your life, or do you want to create your own concepts? That's the thing. Like that's always been my thing. Even when I was a kid, I like to create my own concepts. Yeah, I thought about it would be cool to work for one of these bigger companies, but that was never my main goal. That was never my end goal. So if you can achieve your end goal without trying to filter yourself through these companies, especially with all the outlets you have now with social media and platforms like either YouTube or Vimeo or wherever, or just going to film festivals yourself, you don't need to work for the industry anymore. Okay, there's plenty of artists out there and animators who just put out independent projects and make money on their own. You know, yeah, it might not make millions of dollars, but uh, 100 G's a year or whatever is better than, and it's all coming back to you, is better than a $30,000 salary that you're going to get from one of these companies, and that's not, and you can't even keep your idea, and you're going to be looking for work later on. You know what I mean? Yeah, it seems like independent is the way to go. For like I say, it works for some people. It doesn't work for everybody, but you have to have the mentality and the stride to be independent. Though it can't just be something you just decide to do. Okay, it has to be something you love to do and something you really want to accomplish. Because there are pitfalls to being independent as well. At like I've worked as an independent contractor for other people, and there are some shady people out there who will get you to do something and then not pay you your full amount or try to shortchange you. I can't tell you how many times I've been offered to do someone's work for them for the exposure. I was like, no, I don't need exposure, dude. You found me. So obviously I don't need the exposure. If you found me to do your work, then I don't need exposure from you. Okay. I don't need exposure. I need cash. If you don't have the cash, that's fine. I'm not going to condemn you for that or be upset with you for that, but uh, that's what I need. I have, especially now that I have a family, a home. I need money to survive. I'm not playing games with because I mean, when you create this stuff, especially animation and art, it takes time. To do it right and do great things, it takes time. So why would I want to spend that time doing something I'm not getting paid for? Okay, that's why I want to impart to a lot of you young artists. Make sure you get paid, even if it's just a down payment. I always make sure I get a down payment now. So even if the project doesn't go anywhere later on, I got my down payment. Okay, like for those games that never came out, Canary Kaboom and Dead Man's Quest, I got paid for those. I got paid very well actually. So couple $1,000. So what I'm saying is like that. That's why I'm not so upset about it because it's like okay, well, I got paid. It's up to them if they want to put it out because they could have made money off of it. But if they don't want to do it, then what can I say? I can't make. It's not my company, so I can't make them do it. So it's almost dumb on them. You just paid me a couple of G's for nothing. You know what I'm saying? You just paid me a whole bunch of money for nothing, and I got paid. It's almost like I got over on them. But like I said, I don't know what. Like you said, I can't really tell what goes on in the minds of some of these CEOs or whatever. So, uh, or these guys who just not even CEOs, but guys who just have money and they want to produce something. I've met so many guys like that. So many rich people want to produce their own projects. I could tell you some funny ass stories, guys. I could literally do a series just of that, of ridiculous ass ideas that rich people come up with and they want to produce, and they try to find an artist to produce them. Uh, every once in a while, you get a really good one, like this Big Monty concept, because the people that hired me to do this, it's a mother and her son, and they hired the author and they hired me. They hired two people to work on it for them. But every idea is not like that. I can like one of my first jobs I worked on was this. It never saw the light of day, thank God, because it was horrible. But it was like a Christmas fantasy story called Santopia. That even sounds corny, doesn't it? And like there was like a Santa family and Santa warriors and everything, and they're fighting evil snowmen and the dwarves in the movie. Like I remember I was sitting with the lady that was financing it, and she was sitting next to me, and she was having me design the elves for this, and I designed my version of what the elves could look like. They're really cute, lovable stuff that'd be good for merchandising. And by the time we were done with it, it looked like some crap from the Gremlins movie. Just looked terrible. They're a little like hairy Monchichis or something like that later on, and it was just bad. So that's what I'm saying is like there are people out there who just have whole bunches of money and just don't know what to do with it. Okay, and I've worked with everyone from people from the Kennedy family who want to produce something in animation, and this is one of my more embarrassing ones, but the late great Eddie Long, he, he wanted to produce some animation too, and I remember I worked on a project. This was way before his scandal, by the way. This wasn't because I couldn't have done that, but this is way before his sex scandal was known, and before obviously before he passed away or whatever he had. We all know he probably had the package, but I'll keep that on the low low. But uh, yeah, I worked on a project for him. I can't. It was him. I mean, I'll just put it out there because I don't think anyone will be. I don't think I'll get sued for it. But it was him. I can't remember what the lady's name was. I can't remember what her name was, but she was a high powered lawyer. She's the one that actually paid me to do it. And Robert Townsend was involved in this as well. I had to sit and talk with him for a while. And this good brother I know from who works for the Atlanta film industry. He's a real good guy. I appreciate that brother. I'm going to talk about him at the end of this because I want to give some positive stories. But uh, I'm just letting you know that that's what there are people out there who shell out money for things and the project just never go anywhere. Like I said, for that also something I worked on, did all the character designs and everything. I got paid, but nothing happened. So it's like, I mean, I guess maybe it's a write off for them. I guess, I mean, well, I mean, Eddie Long, he's getting free money from people anyway. So I guess, not a big deal how he spends it. He's getting the offering every Sunday. I wish I had that type of hookup. But yeah, it's like, like I said, rich people can come to you with a project for anything and you get paid for it and then it just doesn't come out. So that, so I will always say that you save all your work because you might want to put it out on your own later on. Just even put it in a demo reel somewhere just to show people that you're competent when it comes to design and animation. So I want to leave off with some positive stories before I go. And I'll start off with like that brother I was just telling you about. His name is Asante Bradford, and he works for the Atlanta film industry. Like when it first got started, it was like him and like two other people in like this little tiny office. But now it's like it's grown so big because Atlanta has become such a big place for the film industry. He's been very helpful to me. Like I met him in San Francisco at a Microsoft party. That's if I can tell you guys that you do your best networking at parties, industry parties, than you do going to like the HR office. So if you go to like a convention or any type of industry thing, like see if there's like a after party somewhere and go there and have your business cards with you because that can help you in the future. Me doing that little bit of networking with him there got me all types of work later on through him. Okay, because he had the connections when I moved to Atlanta. I met him before I even moved to Atlanta. I was still living in Florida when I met him, but uh, talking with him there and later hooking up with him in Atlanta, he got me lots of different types of work just from that little networking party at Microsoft. So that's what I want to impart to you guys too. If you can meet someone like that, that can be a big benefit to your career. Okay. Uh, like I said, just a real solid. It's rare that you meet solid brothers like that who are not trying to take advantage of you, who always keep it real with you. Like he would always tell me if something was good or if it wasn't good, he would tell me. You know what I'm saying? Like he wouldn't sell me on some BS. He would tell me like, I don't know if you want to work with these people because they're this, that, and the third. I appreciate that. Give me the heads up if someone is shady. Okay. We both got sucked into that Eddie Long thing, so don't blame us for that. He didn't know either that was going to be a flop, so I don't blame him for that. But yeah, then these other people, this couple I worked with from uh, the husband's from America, but the wife is from Japan. I worked with them early on when they had their first startup in 2007, I think. They had their first startup in 2007, and they were doing like the kind of like a knockoff of Neopets. If anyone remembers those back in the day, they were doing like their own version of that, and like the little girl dress up games and stuff like that. I worked with them way back then. Just I don't know. I still to this day I don't know how. I think they saw one of my cartoons. Uh, they like just grabbed the. They were just grabbing different resumes and demo reels out of a pile at a HR event or something like that. That's what they told me. But they found my work and contacted me. But I worked with them for a year just doing that stuff. And we kept in touch. And then like years later, I worked on them with my first. I got my first social games job working with them because they were working on a project called Yumbies. For anyone who's ever played Yumby Smash or Yumby, what's the other one? Yumby Toss, Yumby Smash, and Yumby Word. I think the other game was. They're still available on iTunes, I believe, and Google Play. Google Play like actually added them to their anniversary collection of games. So that game was very well reviewed and very popular. And I'm always very proud of it when I worked on it because, like I said, those people, just for me and those people back then, this was in 2012 when I worked on that game with them. Uh, they gave me my start as far as working in social games and stuff. Like I never would have got any other gaming job doing sprites or whatnot if it wasn't for them. So I always appreciate them for that. But that was a very good experience. They're very nice people. That is very rare that you meet sincere, nice people. Like I remember I went to go meet them in San Francisco and they took me to lunch. It was funny because I thought like I had been working with them for a few months just remotely. I didn't meet them in person. And I didn't know that they were married until I went to them with lunch to them. Then like, oh yeah, we're actually a couple. I was always dealing with them. I thought like one was the CEO and one was just the manager or whatever, or the art director. I didn't realize they were actually a couple. But I met them, I met their kids and everything. Just real nice people. Okay. And they don't really even do games anymore. They decided just, they do other startups. I think the Japanese wife, she does some things where they're somewhat involved in games, but not really. So like they just do different startups here and over. Like they travel back and forth to Asia and here. So, but very nice people. I still keep in touch with them every once in a while. I'll talk to them about stuff, and like I said, they know my family, I know theirs. It's just a good working relationship. It's rare that you find that, but that's good to have. Okay, because like I said, they've recommended me to different people as well, and that's helped my career. So those are two very positive things I could say, and probably one of the most positive things I could say is the brother Joseph Wheeler III. He runs the OnyxCon convention. I always appreciate Joseph because he gave me an opportunity to do to showcase my work and also to sell my work. He was the first one to do so, so I appreciate him for doing that. And he still does it, and he always bigs me up. He always promotes my stuff. We've collaborated and created merchandise and just promotional artwork and stuff like that for OnyxCon. So he's made me part of that family business that he's created. So I appreciate him for that. He, like I said, that's another positive experience I can give you. There are positives in this industry. It's rare. Most of the time, it's not negative. Most of the time, it's just straight business. They pay you, you do the work, and that's it. That's the best you can hope for. And if it just goes like that, where it's just straight business, that's great. Every once in a while, it'll be overly positive, where you find friends that you can count on year after year after year, and a good contact year after year after year. Other times, it's extremely negative, and you just want nothing to do with that person. Okay, I have had several extremely negative relationships with people that I just don't want anything to do with now. There's one guy, he screwed me over so bad one time. Like, he was supposed to pay me for a project that we worked on, and he just never showed up. And I would contact him and try to figure out like where he was, and like he would like avoid my phone calls and everything. I was like, really, dude? You gonna do me like a hoe now? You just gonna just use my work and or he didn't even use the work. Like he shut the website down and everything. I was like, well, damn, he's gonna do me like that, huh? And this fool had the nerve to show up years later. Like, I had moved here. It was my first year living in his house. He sent me an email talking about, hey man, you want to meet up? We can pick up where we left off on this project. I'm like, are you crazy? This was when he screwed me over. It was like, what year was it? It was like 2010, 2011 or something like that. So this is years later. Like, when I first, like last year, he contacted me and asked, like, did I want to like work on this project again with him? I'm like, hell, what? Like, I was almost in disbelief first of even hearing from him. But I was like, no. I was like, where's my $500 that you were supposed to give me? That's the first thing I asked him. I was like, where's my money? you talking about you want to pick up where we left off? Where's the money you owe me, dude? That's what I want to know before I can even say anything or do anything else. Where's the money? And I was like, why would I want to work with you on anything else? Or it's like it was the same project. I was like, why would I want to work on you with that project when you tanked it? You took the website down. You refused to keep on going with it. So it's like I thought it was done. So what do you want me to do now? Now you want me to come back? No, I'm not doing that shit. Sorry for cursing on this, but that's just how it is. So it's like you meet people like that, they're just delusional. They just have their mind is just screwed up about like what goes on in real life. Like, it's like, especially when they do you dirty and then want to come back. It's like, no. And I'll be a fool. I would look stupid then if I went back to him and said, yeah, let's work together, bro. No, I'm not doing that. So like I said, it's one of those things where you have to just be mindful and take care of yourself and be smart about your business dealings. Like I said, obviously, if you have a negative experience with somebody, leave that person alone. And anyone who I find out might be working with him, I'm going to tell them about him too. So he's on the list of people not to screw with. The dude like Theodore from the little pudgy dude like Theodore from the Chipmunks. but yeah, he's one of these fools who was surprised that I had a black wife too. That was funny. When he saw my wife was black, he said, "Oh man, you got you a sister." I'm like, yeah. The majority of marriages out there are black people that are married to other black people, but I'm not even gonna get into that on this channel. But yeah, that's the funny thing. Like, some of these people out here are just delusional. So that's what I want to say is you have great experiences in the industry. There are negative ones. I mean, for the most part, like I said, it's just a exchange of goods and services. So it's not that big of a deal, but just be careful what you're dealing with and know what you're getting into. Like if you're young and you want to work on games or whatever, and you don't mind doing this project to project basis, it might not be bad because I mean I have a family now. I can't do that. But if you're in your early 20s, you don't mind traveling, you got no attachments or whatever, go out there to California, San Francisco, or wherever, and work on some games or whatever, right? Or travel to different parts of California, or even go to Asia or whatever. You have nothing to lose then. And if you work project to project, you might want to build your portfolio that way and maybe get an idea of how to build games, and then like leave that industry and build your own. That's always a good stepping stone. But like I said, if you have any type of attachments or whatever, and you can't make move around like that, I wouldn't recommend it. But like I said, when you're young, like when I was young, I did a lot of contract stuff, and it just wasn't that big of a deal. I could uh, move when I wanted to, or I could work from home, whatever, you know. So it wasn't that big of a deal when I was young, or my early 20s and whatnot. I didn't have a wife or whatever. I could do what I wanted. I could work at night, work in the morning, whatever. So that, but I can't do that now. I have a set schedule, so it's a little more difficult to do these things. But uh, if you're young, you might be able to pull that off. So that might be an option for you. But like I said, if certain people in certain stages of life, it's not a good thing. And I've seen people that are older than me with families and everything trying to do that, and I was like, man, I don't know how you do it. I would go crazy doing that. And a lot of them are extremely depressed, and they hate their life and whatever. They hate they start hating what they love, and I never want to get to that point. I never wanted to get to the point where I started hating doing artwork. That's not why I got here. You know what I'm saying? That's if I'm doing something that I love and enjoy, why would I want to put myself in a situation where now I hate it? Don't do that to yourself, folks. So that's what I can impart to you guys about working in the industry and how they can do you dirty sometimes. Just be aware of what's going on. That way, you know what to watch out for, and you can do better on for yourself. Okay, always, it's okay to be a little selfish when dealing with these folks. Okay, always think about yourself and what you want to achieve with your goals. Don't make it all about just creating something for them and helping them achieve their dreams and their goals. Make it about yourself. Okay, so that's all I wanted to say, guys. I appreciate you as always. I hope you guys enjoy this live stream. I would like to do more just like this. So the only way to go is to fund your own platform for what you want to do. I guess, yeah. I mean, like I said, that can be tricky too. I might do a blog or a live stream about that as far as like doing uh, crowdfunding or whatever. But yeah, if you can find funding, that's fine. But in my opinion, if you're serious about creating a certain thing, just finding funding should not be. Don't let funding be the thing that's stopping you from doing your goal. Okay, there was no Kickstarter or no crowdfunding for Naturally Cute. I just went ahead and did it. I worked my regular job, I worked my contract jobs, and I worked on this when at night before I went to work every night, and it came out as making money, and I haven't looked back since. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Is like I didn't have to wait. I said I didn't go. Let me do a Kickstarter first and see if people will fund me doing this. No, I created the book, put it out there, and it makes money, and I don't have to worry about doing rewards and all this other stuff with it. Okay, that's the thing I don't really like about Kickstarter is like I just feel weird begging people for money for stuff that's not finished. So like maybe if I wanted to do this and I don't know, add something to it and maybe do a Kickstarter, but like the way the Black Authority did his movies, where his movies were already done, and he did a crowdfunding for people to pay for the advertising. Like that I can understand. That was actually a good idea. But he didn't let crowdfunding be the thing that helps him make the movie. He made the movie, and say, hey, if you want to help me pay for billboards, radio time, and everything else, then do the crowdfunding. Don't let crowdfunding be the thing that stops you from creating the actual product. That's my thing. So I tried that years ago with Knuckleheads, and it was just a waste of my time. It was better for me to just go ahead and create it on my own and put it out there, and I've seen more dividends from it that way. Okay, so if I can impart anything to you guys, I'll impart that. Yeah, fund it yourself. When they tell you don't spend your own money, that's bullshit. Sorry for cursing again, but that's nonsense. Okay, put your own money into it. It's yours, right? Even what's his name? Robert Rodriguez said the same thing. He's like, they always say, don't spend your own money. That's nonsense. Spend your own money. It's your project. It's your passion. Why wouldn't you want to put your money into it? If you don't put money into it, why would anyone else want to put money into it? If you don't believe in it enough to put your blood, sweat, and tears into it and your finances into it, no one else is going to believe it either. So why not? I said it didn't cost much to do this. Like I said, it doesn't cost much sometimes. It didn't cost me much to do my animations and uh, do like film festivals and whatnot. The time was the hardest thing. Spending the time was the hardest part of it. But you spend the time and spend the effort, and it comes back to you. You got it made. So I don't see there's no big. It's not a big deal. So if I can impart to you on that, guys, is just go ahead and put your time in. Put your time if you're passionate about it. I mean, I've known people who have done full feature length animations and are winning awards for it and got paid for it and everything else. They didn't do crowdfunding for it. They just put it out there. They spent like 2 or 3 years doing it and put it out there, and it pays off. I want to work on something similar. Excuse me, with Chris Crazy House. I actually wrote a script, 2 scripts actually, for a first cartoon and a sequel. It's going to take time to produce, obviously, but when it's done, I'll be better off for it. So I'm not really so obsessed with just doing crowdfunding. I don't think you should let crowdfunding be the thing that stops you or enables you to create something. Go ahead and do it. And if you want to do crowdfunding for advertising or something else later, do that. But don't let that hold you back from your dreams. Don't let anything hold you back from your dreams, because I see so many artists do that. They say, well, I need to get this program, or I need to get crowdfunding, or I need to get this computer or whatever. Go ahead and do it, man. Don't let anything hold you back from getting it done. Okay, use whatever tools you have at your disposal and get the thing done. So that's what I wanted to impart to you guys. I hope you enjoyed this live stream. I enjoyed myself, and I hope you guys enjoy the next one. I don't know what the next subject is going to be. I'll probably do more of a showcase of what I got going on for OnyxCon, and maybe I'll give you guys some pro tips of how to be a good vendor at a convention. I wanted to do that for a while as well. So I will do that next Friday. Okay. Well, let me make sure I can do that next Friday. Yeah, I'll be here next Friday. So yeah, next Friday I'll do that. Okay. I don't know if she'll pop in or not. My wife, my wife is actually going to be home that day. I don't know if she'll pop in or not. We'll see. Maybe I can convince her to be on camera. She doesn't want to be mixed in with my nonsense sometimes. And I can understand. She's a published author. She's published in several textbooks. She's a doctor and everything, so she doesn't want to be involved in my foolishness sometimes. I can understand that. I might not be involved either if I wasn't me, but who knows? Anyway, you guys take care. I appreciate you as always, and make sure you sub to this channel so you can be up to date with my live streams as well as my new uploads. I'm going to be uploading some new stuff probably this evening, some more drawing videos. So, and I'm not sure about having an animation video tomorrow or Sunday. I'm trying to decide when I want to edit some more sounds in it or not, any more music into it. It has a sound effect, so I'm not sure if I want to edit the music in it or just leave it as is. We'll see. If I can find some royalty-free music, I'll put that in there. We'll see. Anyway, folks, thank you guys once again, and make sure you sub to this channel. Enjoy the animation and the artwork here. And, go out there and tell a friend and spread it around. I'd appreciate that. Anyway, Chris Crazy House, signing out. Peace.